What's up, everybody? This is Bob's Three-Toed Warrior from Studio 1329 with Word on the Streets, Season 1, episode titled A Pinch of Flour and a Dash of Devy. You like that? That's because today I have Katie Flower on the show with me. We're going to talk a little Dynasty, talk a little Redraft, and talk a dash of Devy. What's going on, Katie?
Hey, I'm excited to be here, and it's kind of funny that you're using cooking terms because that's one of my hobbies. I love to cook.
Do you now? See, I listened to like the All About Katie show and some others, and I found that you're extremely sporty. You like all the sports stuff, especially growing up, and you're extremely handy building stuff in the shop, things like that. The cooking stuff might have been in there, but I think I was blown away by the other parts, and it just I overlooked it. Yeah,
I don't know that the cooking was in there, but at the Senior Bowl this year, I cooked for Chad and Mrs. UTH, and then the 2 years ago when Jordan and Chad and I went to the Senior Bowl, I was the chief cook. And gourmet meals, even with a very small kitchen and a small grill in downtown Mobile, Alabama.
Okay. Do you have a specialty?
Oh, I have tons of specialties, but chicken marsala is one of my specialties, and then chicken and dumplings. And I mean, I make a great macaroni and cheese, just 5 different cheeses, nice and crusty on the top. I don't use tomatoes. I don't veggie it up, but it is outstanding.
Okay. All right. I can drink to that. I have my unofficial sponsor.
Gotta have some bacon in that mac and cheese.
Okay.
You want to know what I'm drinking?
Yes, I do.
All right. So I started at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I got done a little bit early, and I finished off the bottle of Crown Peach, and I was drinking that with ginger ale. And I told you I was going to bring my buddy Jack tonight. So I brought Jack, and since I had the Jack and I had no Coke, I ran out of Coke from last night, I'm drinking the Jack with ginger ale. Okay. So I came up with a little song. It's like, I'm sipping on gin and Jack with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Laid back.
All right, I like it. We got a good show tonight.
I got some gin and Jack, baby.
Katie, tell the listeners where they can find your work.
Yeah, sure. So I co-host with Chad Parsons on Under the Helmet every week, and that's uthdynasty.com. Every now and again, I will submit an article. It's been a while, but I'm also on the premium side. If you are a member, we have hundreds of different strategy podcasts on our premium side. And I really get in deep with the Devy and the strategy talk on that particular show. I'm also on a new show that'll be coming out hopefully within the next couple of weeks with Dynasty Madman called Cold Drinks and Hot Takes.
Oh yeah, we're going to go into that one.
Yeah, sitting there sipping some suds or, or doing some shots or whatever that we're doing that night and chit-chatting about fantasy football and anything else that comes to mind.
Love it.
I also have a YouTube channel where I, especially for commissioners in my fantasy league, sometimes it'll be a year before you do a particular function. And rather than sit there and scratch your head and try to figure it out, I've got, if you, on YouTube, you search for Katie Flower and you'll find my helpful tutorials on like Devy leagues, how to enter custom names and different things like that.
Okay.
And I'm always open if you've got a topic that you don't see in there. I've got like dispersal draft, things like that can help. Time-saving tips for commissioners, but I can do tutorials for owners if there's how do you change your main page to different graphics and things like that. I can pretty much do whatever you need. If you have a topic, just let me know.
That's awesome. It's a really neat community, the Twitter fantasy football community, and reaching out to each other and helping each other out. It's pretty cool. So I've listened to Under the Helmet for a few years, probably 3-4 years now, and enjoy it. Love listening to you guys. Love your advice. In a short show, how'd you get involved?
Well, I'm a big Survivor fan, and I had been going to this charity event every year for 7 years called Hearts of Reality. We would meet the survivors and people on Amazing Race and Apprentice and Big Brother and things like that. and raise money for charity for Give the Kids the World. And the guy that organizes the whole thing, I would be one of the drivers to and from the airport for the reality stars and do a lot of the volunteering and got to play golf with them. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
One year in 2012, he called me up 2 nights before they were going to do their fantasy football draft. He goes, I'm missing one person. It's a 12-team league. Have you ever played fantasy football before? Would you like to play fantasy football? I said, put me in. I've never played. And then I just Googled, fantasy football and looked at different articles, read some stuff from Matt Berry at ESPN. It was all crap. But anyway, even though I did horrible the first year, I ended up falling in love with it. And then the next year I immersed myself, got into a lot of leagues. And then in 2014, that's when I hit Dynasty. And I fell in love with Dynasty because it's active year round. There's trading, rookie drafts, evaluation of talent. You get to keep your team that you draft forever unless you
good, bad, or indifferent.
Retire. What?
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. But or if the league crumbles, I've found some disappointment through the years that leagues do crumble. But it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And I've always loved sports, as you mentioned. I coached football for 14 years, 5th grade through 8th grade, depending on where I was. And I refereed and I coached baseball and basketball. So I've got an analytical kind of mind, and I really like to scout for talent. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. I like it. So let's have a quick cold drink, and why don't you give me a hot take or two?
All right.
I'm gonna get a little cheat ski off your show that doesn't exist yet. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, so one of the hot takes that I gave on the very first episode that we did
does exist.
And this, a lot of people are drafting in rookie drafts in Superflex. They're drafting Joe Burrow as the 101.
Yeah.
And I said, you really don't want to do that. There's 3 or 4 running backs that are better talent and better fantasy assets than Joe Burrow will be. I think that Joe Burrow is going to end up a Jared Goff, which is not to say he's not a good NFL quarterback. I think he will be a good NFL quarterback. But for fantasy purposes, I don't see him doing anything special that's going to get him in that top 6, in that top, the Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Like, I even doubt if Kyler Murray can sustain it. But Joe Burrow, I think, in 3 years will be regarded like everybody was hot for Jared Goff to begin with. And now 3 years later, you can't even give Jared Goff away in Superflex. Joe Burrow's going to end up just like that. He's going to be an average Joe.
Then that works out really well.
Yeah. So another hot take, and this is for a couple that aren't just down the road. That's 3 years before I can prove that one, if that happens. But I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to oust Marlon Mack by week 4.
Wow, okay.
He's going to overcome the number of carries and the number of touchdowns. He will be the go-to guy, and Marlon Mack will still get some carries, but he'll be an afterthought by week 4. And then my third hot take is A.J. Dillon is going to oust Aaron Jones by week 8, by midseason.
Really?
He will overtake him as the go-to back for the Green Bay Pack. Okay. And then the one veteran hot take, I'm going to say Teddy Bridgewater will be a top 6 QB this season.
Okay. That's hot.
It's on fire.
There you go. In the league I mentioned off air pre-show, Teddy Bridgewater went back and forth between me and another guy when he was just a backup to the backup to the backup for like 2 or 3 trades, just as a joke.
Right.
It's a super flex, and he still ended up with them. So he actually has a little value now, but it was the added on piece. Like,
I would see if you can get him as a throw in now.
Yeah. Now
send an offer, man. Say, hey, turnabout's fair play. It's my turn.
That's right. All right. You heard that, Al. Send him back my way. All right. That's pretty cool. How many leagues are you in? And I know the number will take more than you have fingers and toes, I believe. More than toes than I have, that's for sure.
Right. Well, I have dwindled it down to 30.
Okay.
And that's 30 Dynasty leagues. I'm also in 2 redraft leagues.
Okay.
But 30 Dynasty leagues, and a few of them are best ball, so that I don't have to set lineups. But that has cut back quite a bit. My max
Dynasty
at one
best
point
ball
was
league?
like 52.
You said Dynasty Best Ball League?
Yeah, Dynasty best ball.
I have not played that. I dabbled in a couple regular best ball leagues last year. I've never played a Dynasty one.
Yeah, I mean they're not as active, and
Yeah.
they're not anywhere near as much fun, but they pay the rent.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of leagues, I am going to mention our listener league that we're firing up. It's going to be a little 12-team auction on Yahoo, and doing the first 2 drawings will be from 5-star reviews, or I should say really the last 2 drawings will be from 5-star reviews. So if you throw a little Apple 5-star review, screenshot that and send it to me at Bob's3Toad. That'll get you an entry. And 2 other entries will be from making me laugh on Twitter. You might want to mention that it's for the contest, because I laugh on Twitter a lot, and I might just miss the fact that that was for the contest. So you might want to throw that in there. But I'll announce that on next Friday's show. So you might want to get that in there. Make this man laugh. So if you were setting up a dynasty, depth, scoring, starting positions, what would be your perfect, what would be your ideal setup for you, for Miss Flower?
All right. So deep rosters.
What do you consider deep?
Like 38 to 45, anywhere in there.
Okay, that's deep.
and no kicker, no defense.
Amen.
But a la carte, super flex, but like 1 to 7 running backs, 1 to 7 wide receivers, and 2 to 4 tight ends. Because I like the 2 tight ends. That makes you think.
It does. I hate it. It does.
And then on top of that, scoring wise, super flex, 4-point passing touchdowns, but 6 for rushing touchdowns, and the normal, pretty much the normal rest of it. PPR for running back and wide receiver, for tight end 1.5 PPR, and that kind of and even the 0.25 for point per carry for the running back helps kind of even the scoring. Every position has bonuses and benefits from that kind of scoring.
Right.
But then even on top of that, if you happen to add a taxi squad of a dozen or more, make it a Devy Superflex tight end premium a la carte, then you got my heart. Then you got a heart. I can't say no to that. I just can't say no.
No. Okay. All right. We're going to talk Devy here in a minute. It's funny because I had Jordan on the show yesterday, and he said the same thing about the 2 tight ends. You two sound like you might crisscross in a few leagues together too, maybe. I don't know. Sounds like you could, because you like the same kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah, he and I were in one league together, and I think that it ended up the commissioner couldn't keep the league going. It was a dynasty best ball, so it wasn't like I said, the most active, talked about kind of league. They're there in the background.
Yeah. You ever do a half point per first down?
I've done not quite so much, like 0.2 or something like that for first down, but not so drastic.
Not so drastic.
Yeah, I don't think I've got any better half.
Yeah, I like giving a little reward for the first down, because you're doing something that benefits the NFL team, which should benefit your fantasy team. So I find that one kind of a fun little add-on.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you see becoming the new standard format for Dynasty and Redraft leagues?
I think people are really, really starting to flock to the super flex.
Yeah.
I don't know that 2 tight end is ever going to storm the stage, but
sure.
Super flex, I think, is going to become more normal than it is even still.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the super flex. It just makes you think a little harder, makes you do a little more. And unfortunately, when you have too many teams in the league, it makes it very annoying.
Yeah.
When you start getting to the 14s and 16s, you're like, wait, we have a shortage here.
Oh, yeah. I was in a 16-team league where you could start 2 quarterbacks. However, there were special rules. I can't even remember. It was like several years ago. I don't remember exactly what they were, but they helped offset the bye weeks and things like that.
Yeah. The when you talk about Superflex, do you usually take any kind of strategy in when you're drafting a team? Do you like I've seen some people on Twitter be like, I'm going to grab 6 quarterbacks and trade them later, which I personally just say grab the guys you want to grab and don't have to trade for them later because that would be a lot cheaper. But
yeah, I think that in 12-team Superflex, people overthink or overvalue in Dynasty, especially the younger quarterbacks, and they take them in the first few rounds because they want to have a ton, and they're the riskiest play. They are the riskiest play. A quarterback that makes it through their first contract and re-signs, from then on, they're undervalued. Like Phillip Rivers has been a value in Superflex for probably 10 years.
Yeah. Matt Stafford.
Derek Carr right now. Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, they're all in that blah range of guys that are steady contributors. Like Matt Stafford can win you some weeks. The thing is a lot of times you shake up quarterbacks and you throw them, in a Yahtzee cup and spit them out, and they're all the same on a week-to-week basis. Now, yes, you're going to have your studs. But even Patrick Mahomes can have a bad game, or name any of the stud quarterbacks. The biggest thing is if you've got several, you can stream and try to pick the matchups.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
But no, as far as strategy in a Superflex startup, I do like to get one solid guy within the first 3 or 4 rounds, but it doesn't even have to be the first round. But if it, and then I'm willing to fade the position for a long time and pick up the Tom Brady's, the Drew Brees, the Phillip Rivers, the guys that everybody thinks, oh, they've only got a few years left. Well, okay, but I can figure something else out in the meantime.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time in Dynasty.
You print out your roster and put it on your trophy, right?
Right.
All right. So what the hell is Devy? How does it work? And why in the hell do you love it so much?
All right. So Devy stands for developmental. And by the way, one of my nicknames is I'm the diva of Devy.
Okay.
And the diva for short. And developmental players, you're drafting players while they're still in college. They usually go on a taxi squad, but sometimes they're on your active roster. It depends on the league rules, and it's all good. You just have to adapt to the strategy of it. So if you've got a taxi squad of, let's say, 12 guys, and they can all be college players, when they make it to the NFL, if they make it to the NFL, some retire, some are busted, go to jail, some have injuries that are career ending. So there's a lot of different reasons why they may not even live up to their potential. There's so many reasons that they bust out. The hit rate is not great, but the allure of Devy is, if you love college football, just the scouting, just to be able to say, I like that guy, he's got some juice, and putting your mark on that guy and saying, I want him on my Devy roster. And then if they do make it to the NFL, especially if they're an early pick, it's some satisfaction to that. It's like, okay, not only am I the GM of my own Dynasty team, but I'm a scout.
Yeah, you called a shot.
Right, I get to call a shot.
Yeah,
and it's just so addicting. Especially my background, I coached. I've got a pretty good eye for talent. And I do have, through the years, and it started very early in my Devy career, I happened to hit on some pretty good tenets that haven't changed a lot. I've learned a lot, I've grown and changed, but on top of that, some of the things that I identified early have held true, which I like that too.
Okay. Pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I have not played a Devy league yet. Closest thing I got to the Devy league is last year. I jumped to 14 leagues. I shaved down to 5 plus the listener league this year, so 6.
Okay.
But I did a college league. It was an impromptu deal. One of the guys online on Twitter, said, "Hey, firing up a league. Anybody want in?" I said, "No, fine, I'm in." And then instead of being 20 of those, there was 4,
Oh,
4 or 6, I don't know, some measly number, maybe 8 tops. But basically every week you could just hit the waiver wire, grab who you wanted, put them in based on their projections. I had no idea who Brandon Ayuk was and Michael Pittman and all these names that like you're hearing in this year's draft. It's like, oh wait, that guy was on my team. That guy was on my team. And it was funny because I was watching a college game for the first time with intention in a long time late in the season during our playoff. And I'm like, come on, man, give him the ball, you know? So it was neat having an interest in something other than just the NFL games, even not being a college fan myself.
Yeah. And when I first started in Devy, it was in 2014. My very first Devy was Todd Gurley, which was a pretty good choice.
Not bad.
Yeah. And
I can make you a diva right there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a one player per person, so 12-team league, and only one Devy player per person. You could trade the picks if you wanted to, but one thing that it's like, what would you recommend if somebody were starting in Devy?
Hey, that's my next question. That's perfect.
Oh, well, good.
Roll with it.
All right. So whether you do just one or you jump right in and do a deeper one, like anywhere from 6 to 12 or 200 for the entire league, which is a lot, it doesn't matter. If you love college football, that's especially the cue that you would want to do it. You have to have I recommend that you have a pretty good knowledge yourself. There is a ton more information now than ever before. There's rankings from at least 4 or 5 different reputable sites and people that are trusted. However, the fish pond in college, huge.
It's the Atlantic Ocean.
You're talking all of Division I, plus all of the little schools, and you can't discount the smaller schools. Guys come up through the ranks, especially in Superflex. There's always, you look at this year's Superflex rookie drafts, and you think, okay, there's 72 Devy in the league, 72 college players in our fantasy football league on taxi squads already. That means there can't be any first-round picks, right, in the rookie draft. That your rookie first is going to be more like a second or third. The 101 was Joe Burrow this year, and the 102 was Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay.
In Devy rookie drafts, even in deep ones. And that's because people slip through the cracks all the time. Joe Burrow started off as a 5-star. He came out, he hurt himself. Then he had competition and he had to sit, and then he transferred. So by the time he finally got his chance, he's a senior. And people have forgotten about him, of the hype that he had. And that's why it's really tough to draft a freshman anything. But quarterbacks especially, there's only about a 6% hit rate on Devy quarterbacks.
Damn.
That's not very high.
No.
And especially guys like Carson Wentz and even Jared Goff and Joe Burrow and even Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray was potentially an MLB baseball player.
Yeah, I remember you talking a lot about that at the beginning or last. However, I'm trying to say that when he was coming out about the concern of him going, not going.
He was a top MLB player.
Yeah.
And prospect. And for his size and his durability, like, baseball would have been probably the longer career for him, and he would have made millions and millions of dollars. Who knows what football's going to – he may break records. He may end up 30 years in the NFL. We don't know. But the point is, for different reasons, people fall through the cracks. And you can't discount picks because of that either.
Yeah.
But to me, if you're gonna jump in a Devy, it doesn't matter if it's a 1 player per person or 12 per person. you have to learn to watch some film and evaluate and either like the guy yourself, look at the rankings, compare the rankings, but put eyes on the guy and at least have a little buy-in. Do you like the style of that player? I watch interviews. I even go so far as to look at them as a person and listen to their personality and listen to their thought process when they're answering questions.
Sure.
And learn a little bit about their life, because these guys, troublemakers usually don't stay in school.
Yeah, fizzle out a little. So, little bonus question on here. When you said people get into ones, get into 12 per team, Devy,
Right.
when you mention on your show often, blah, 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 da-da-da, Devy depleted, is Devy depleted, does that mean that it's because there's so many Devy that they're just gone? Like it's the 8, 9, 10, 12 Devy deep. What does the Devy depleted mean for those who've heard the phrase but don't understand it?
Right. Sure. That's a very good question. So very first year, Greenfield, all the college players are accessible for you to pick. The second year, you've got a certain number of college players that are already on rosters, on taxi squads in your fantasy league. So the second year, the rookie draft is depleted of those college players. If they're the 101, the normal, let's say Jonathan Taylor is already gone and Cam Akers is already gone. Jalen Reagor is already gone. And, 8 top, the first 8 rookies are gone, which means that the 101 is actually Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
And so while 101, Justin, you're still getting a very good player, but in other rookie drafts, Justin Jefferson is going anywhere between 110 and 204.
Okay. So it's almost like the difference between your starter draft and your rookie draft, where you're just grabbing the rookies only that are coming in. You're just grabbing the freshmen that are coming in to the league and that one, and maybe some guys who are really on the bench from last year. No.
Well,
that face said no, James. No.
I was talking about the rookie draft being Devy depleted.
Yes.
But also you can have a Devy draft that is Devy depleted because guys that are juniors, guys that are sophomores were probably already taken. The stud guys, depending on how deep it was, are already taken. But then you got some breakout guys. The college landscape is so vast that you're never going to get all of them in one Devy draft.
Sure.
There's going to be Devy players that rise up. Saquon Barkley, his freshman year wasn't anything, but his second year, that's when he was starting to really rise in Devy drafts. In your first year, if you were able to pinpoint Saquon Barkley and get him in the 12th round of a Devy draft, he is not eligible to be taken in the first round the next year, and you've already got him, and he's a first-round Devy pick. You see what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
So you can have rookie drafts that are Devy depleted and Devy drafts that are Devy depleted, which is why I like the combo. I like it when instead of having a separate Devy and a separate rookie draft, you combine them, and then when you're on the clock, you choose, do I want to take XYZ rookie that was drafted in the 3rd round of the NFL draft, or do I want to take a chance on this sophomore running back that I've got to hold for 2 to 3 years on my taxi squad? Which do you want to do? I think this guy's got more talent, but the time factor, waiting 2 years, maybe 3 years before they even make it onto your regular roster, is that worth it? It depends on where your team is. Are you a contender? Are you middle of the road? Are you trying to build? There's a lot of factors that go into which Devy that you select and when.
That's pretty neat. It's you're making me want to join a league right now. I said I'm not joining any more leagues this year. Stop it.
Well, I happen to have a very low, I've got a couple of openings in a dispersal draft in a 1-player Devy league.
I hear nothing. Get behind me, you devil.
It's not even an orphan. It's a dispersal. So
we'll talk after, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't twist my arm too hard. I'm not a strong man. All right. Yeah. Let's snag a couple listener questions that were based on Devy. So, Savages on the Mound at We won't throw that out there. But Savages on the Mound says, what do you think about Julian Fleming?
Julian Fleming, wide receiver, Ohio State. He's 6'2", he's 199. He's a 5-star athlete. He's a good kid. You listen to his interviews. He's very passionate about football. He's he's just an easy talker, somebody that you could listen to for a while and get to know him. He seems like a good guy overall.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he was the big guy in high school. High school football players don't fill out like college do. He was already a big dude coming out of high school. So now he's going to be up against guys that are bigger, stronger. Ohio State is no slouch. He's going to have a good quarterback throwing the ball to him. I like him, but like him is all compared to cost.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of wide receivers in the 2021. If I'm in a brand new Devy, there's a bunch of guys in the 2021 wide receivers that I would take long before Fleming. There's even 2 other guys in the 2023 class in the wide receiver position that I would take before Fleming. I do like him, but he's in my top 3 in that class. But there's about 4 or 5 running backs that I would take even before. Running backs have about a 35% hit rate. Wide receivers are closer to 23%.
So 1 out of 3 versus 1 out of 4. Okay.
Yeah. So I would rather there's several running backs in that class that are stout. And so if it's already a Devy depleted draft, yes, I like Fleming, but to me, he'd be more like a probably a third round pick.
Awesome. I think that's some good information the listener will appreciate. Next question comes from Jake Karstens. He says, how do you value draft picks in a Devy league? I've had no Devy picks. Let me rephrase that. Let me say that properly, not rephrase it. Let me just read what's on the page. I had no Devy picks and have an offer in which I'd receive a first round pick. To me, after 28 guys got picked in Devy, the first rounder is equivalent to a late second, early third in regular leagues. Am I off?
Well, and again, I mentioned it earlier, it's all relative.
Okay.
There are always guys that slip through the crack. If the first looks like it's going to be a top 3 pick,
mm-hmm.
then no, that could still be a late first, early second valuation. And if you're in a combo league where you can pick either a Devy or a rookie,
mm-hmm.
then it holds value. Then it doesn't matter if it's depleted because there's still, yes, there's risk involved. There's risk in every pick. But being able to pick your poison, Devy or rookie, at that time keeps that value high.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to assume that it's a rookie draft that he's talking about from the sounds of it, again, if it's a top 3 rookie pick or what you would think would be a top 3 rookie pick, I would not discount it. It's going to be a high value. If it's a later in the first, if it looks like it's a very good team trading their first, then yeah, it's probably closer to late second, early third.
Okay.
But, and yeah, I mean, it also depends if you're buying or selling. If you're selling, you're going to try to get obviously the biggest valuation that you can. If you're buying, yeah, I would want to mitigate the risk by adding other pieces.
Okay. I think you said you think it's a mixed league, though you said,
no,
our mixed draft?
I think it's a depleted rookie draft.
To me, after 28 guys got picked in Devy, the first rounder is equivalent to a late second, early third.
Yeah, it sounds to me like he means a rookie draft is because all these college guys are gone. It depends on how many of those 28 do you think are going to hit?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
And which year is it?
I hope that helps them.
Yeah.
Here is your next question. I love this man, Mr. Fantasy Dave. We hit up on Twitter all the time. He says, I was going to add, how do you rank? He says, how you rank Chase, Bateman, Moore, Waddle. And then he says, and Hubbard. I can't say this.
Etienne.
Etienne. Thank you. Harris.
Okay.
So I think he's saying all those together, or maybe a second tier.
He wants to know wide receivers first and then running back second.
Okay.
All right. So of the wide receivers, Jamar Chase, number 1, hands down, no question.
Okay.
Number 2 is Rondale Moore, Purdue, very easily. And then the other was Bateman and Waddle.
Yep.
I would say Rashad Bateman, Minnesota, and then Jalen Waddle, Alabama would be next. They're closer, but there's a big, huge gulf between the top 2. Chase and Moore are top 2, whereas I've got Waddle and Bateman. They would be more like second-round rookie, maybe even later. So top 2 versus way, way later. There's a big gulf in those 4 that he mentioned. Okay. And then as far as the running backs, ETN first, Hubbard second, and Harris third. But there's other running backs. I think Harris is slower than what a lot of people are thinking. He trucks people. He's a big dude. But he's not anything like A.J. Dillon from this year. So there's a big gulf. I think ETN and Hubbard and then Harris like way over here.
Okay. I appreciate those Devy answers, and I hope the listeners listen and get to hear those answers. Otherwise, you don't get them. But you didn't hear it anyway. So, all right. So that's that part. Now, I don't think I meant to send you this part. I think I meant to surprise you with this part, but I think I sent it to you anyway. So I hear Miss Katie always say, "Cream rises to the top."
Yes, sir.
And I think
you know who I first said that about?
No, who?
The very first player that I said that about was Allen Robinson.
I have him on my team. I like that guy. He's a good player. He just needs a quarterback that can throw the ball.
Back in 2014 is when I coined that phrase, and that phrase was coined about Allen Robinson.
Yeah. You have a couple phrases I like. The other one is, you might beat me,
but you will not outwork me.
That's right. Love it. I love it. And the girl studies. The girl learns, the girl studies. She is on the game. So I don't disagree with this statement, but I have
But what would you like to know?
But I do partially feel, so I feel like at wide receiver, tight end, at quarterback, I do feel that the cream rises up. I feel like at running back, because they have such a shorter shelf life, such a shorter amount of contracts in general in top tier play, I feel like their landing position can make such a big difference for them in particular.
Okay.
And so it can make a big difference in that first contract. Hard.
Let me give you some examples of guys that
teach me.
In their rookie season, before they became who they became, I used this phrase with. And I don't use it with a ton of guys.
Okay.
I used it with Alvin Kamara.
I've heard of that guy.
I've used it with David Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And when Alvin Kamara came out, remember, he had Adrian Peterson and Mark Ingram in front of him, and everybody poo-pooed his landing spot, and he went early second round. David Johnson poo-pooed his landing spot because Andre Ellington and a bunch of other guys were in Arizona,
sure.
And he went early second round. Nick Chubb, he didn't quite slide all the way. His cheapest was anywhere around like 110, I think was the cheapest I saw him go. But people were taking Ronald Jones over Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb had Carlos Hyde and somebody else that he was battling with. And I said, cream rises to the top. I even said that. You know who I said that to? My buddy Matt Berry at ESPN at the Fantasy Football Convention. He was answering a question to somebody, and they were asking about Nick Chubb. And he goes, oh, no, I wouldn't draft him in a redraft. And I stepped in, and I said, Matthew, I respect you. However, by mid-season, and I looked at the person, I said, by mid-season, by week 8, Nick Chubb will own that job. You don't need to necessarily draft him unless somebody else you think that they're going to. But you can get him on the waiver wire. I would be looking really seriously between weeks 4 and 6 to pick him up for free off the waiver wire before anybody has to blind bid on that dude. You will not regret it. So I've said it about Nick Chubb, David Johnson, Alvin Kamara. I said it about A.J. Brown when he got his horrible landing spot in Tennessee. I'm not always right, but as my dad says, I'm not always right, but I'm never wrong.
I love it. That's funny.
And I'm going to say it about DeAndre Swift this year. I'm going to say it about Jonathan Taylor. A lot of people think, well, he's got Marlon Mack. Great. A.J. Dillon is another one. He doesn't have a horrible landing spot. He will rise to the top. Cream rises to the top. It doesn't matter if it's wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, or maybe got running back. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Listen.
Cream rises to the top.
I wanted to challenge you on it. I got the challenge on it. I got a black eye. I'm all good.
It's all good.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, that's good times. Okay. All right. So you don't feel not even a little extra love for landing spot for running back at all? No?
It may be a tight. Put it this way. Between Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, they're my top two running backs this year. The difference is Jonathan Taylor has a slightly better landing spot.
You could throw CH in there with them just for what? You could probably throw CH in that conversation. No, not because he's your favorite, but because people are hyping him up in that first, second, third.
I'm not talking about where they go. DeAndre Swift is going later. I'm just saying if I have the choice between DeAndre Swift and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'm taking DeAndre Swift 100% of the time.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Not 99.2. Not 99.7.
100 and 100.
100% of the time.
Okay.
And the reason is I think the talent is better. And I think he's got a fine landing spot. Okay. I'm not that afraid of – I don't think he's going to be afraid of Kerryon Johnson. And we'll see.
I love the pause there. That was evil. For those of you who are not watching on YouTube, she just leaned in and said, "We'll see," and it was Naz. So okay, I like it. What if you could only have those guys for 3 years and you had to release them?
I'd still take Jonathan Taylor all day.
Yeah. Okay.
Cream rises to the top, man.
I'm cheating. I'm asking because I have the 101 in a league that you only have the guy for 3 years.
Cream rises to the top.
That's funny. I love it. I love the phrase.
And I already declared as my hot take that JT would overtake Marlon Mack by week 4. Didn't I say week 4? Did you circle it?
You absolutely said that. And it's literally circled on.
Put it on the calendar. There you go.
Page. There it is. JT. You can't read my handwriting. There it is.
Yes, I can.
For those listening, I'm holding up a paper.
It actually looks like a J7.
Whatever.
I'll give it to you. That may be that cursive thing.
No, believe me, it's not cursive. You mentioned David Johnson earlier, one of the guys you said cream rises to the top on. And he's one of the running backs getting thrown to the side, him, Todd Gurley, handful of others that are nice values.
Running backs, you ride them while you got them, and you have plenty of them. You have as many of them as you can because you're going to go through them. You know, I'd still rather have Todd Gurley for 3 or 4 years than Jordan Howard.
I can see that.
Or even, yeah. There's a lot of what ifs and you don't know what injuries are going to shorten any athlete's career lifespan.
Yeah. People didn't think Tyreek Hill was playing last year, and he had a great season. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you never know.
But the other thing with running backs, one of my favorite phrases is I grow my running backs organically.
Organically. Yes, ma'am.
I do. Right. Which means
I listen.
Okay.
It absorbs.
So you get the running backs in the rookie drafts that you believe in, and you get them at a decent price. You don't pay up for them. When they hit big, you don't pay up for them. So you got guys that you like early in the draft in the 101 to 103 range, but then you got that early second round pick, 201 and 203. And then you get the guys like the Alvin Kamaras and the David Johnsons and different guys that you believe in that early second round, whether they're buried to begin with or they have a bad landing spot, and usually it's because of the bad landing spot that pushes them down. People are taking Keyshawn Vaughn in front of some of the guys that they should be taking.
Because Tom Brady likes to throw to a running back.
I'm sorry?
Because Tom Brady likes to throw to a running back.
Well,
and supposedly
yeah,
Ronald Jones can't pass block.
Huh?
And supposedly Ronald Jones can't pass block, and Keyshawn can, right? That's what everybody's saying.
The other night. I said, well, I don't know if Keyshawn Vaughn can or can't.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm hearing people say.
Huh?
That's what I hear people saying. I don't know if he can. I actually haven't watched any tape. I don't know.
Well, the point is he hasn't played an NFL snap. You don't know if he can pass protect when it counts. There's a bunch of different schemes and things that he's going to be up against. Sure. I've had Vanderbilt fans tell me Keyshawn Vaughn's a huge mistake. Vanderbilt fans.
Yeah. He's going to be playing against bigger, faster, stronger, right?
That's right.
Yep. Bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter, and how to deal with the rooks. So, yeah, absolutely. So here is my ask all preseason question. So get that Fantasy Pros or your own rankings, whatever you like to use up for redraft. Do you go full PPR, half PPR? What are you using for your rankings?
Typically PPR. Yeah, PPR.
Full? Okay.
Yeah, full PPR standard.
That's what most people have been using. So no problem. So who is one quarterback, one running back, and one wide receiver that you could see finishing in the top 5 of the season, but you're able to draft 13th or later at their position itself? So a nice deal that you can see having that big pop.
All right. So quarterback, I've already told you.
So was that Stafford, Goff, and
Teddy Bridgewater?
Teddy. Oh, you did say Teddy Bridgewater. My bad.
I said top 6 is my hot take, but
that might have been off air.
Huh?
That might have been before we hit record.
No, that was during my hot takes.
Oh, that's right. That was during the hot take. That's right.
You might want to rewind and watch it. Listen, yeah, there you go. So in the hot take, I said top 6, but I'm going to even go further because this is top 5. I'm even going to say he is post round 13. He's in round 13.
Not round 13, pick 13.
Huh?
Pick 13 of that position. So like Teddy Bridgewater's ranked 26 at his position. That's a steal if he'll finish 5th. That's all I meant. Not even the round. I just meant the position.
I misread. Okay, I misread your question earlier. I thought you said 13th round or later of ADP.
I did not mean that. No, I just meant at their position. So, yeah.
I mean, it may be post 13. I went post round 13, so you can get them in round 13 of your redraft startup, or later.
Okay.
So that's what I did, which still probably does what you said.
Oh yeah.
On 13 of their position, but it's going to be way beyond in some of the cases.
Yeah. Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater is supposed to, is ranked 26 by Fantasy Pros.
I'm still gonna keep him. I'm not gonna change now.
No, that's a steal. Yeah. You get a guy at 26 who finished 5th. You're taking him with your last pick of the draft, and you're walking out with a smile on your face. So, not bad.
All right. So running back
that you can be the 13th ranked running back or later. So that means your window just opened up big time.
13th round, so I'm going to be beyond. I'm saying AJ Dillon.
Okay.
In Green Bay, he's going to touchdowns alone are going to make him a top 5 fantasy asset this year.
So you don't see him stealing Williams' work more than Jones's?
I think he's going to take Jones's work.
Okay. I'm not arguing. I'm just asking.
All right. And again, a lot of these are very hot takey because I thought you said round 13 and beyond.
Which makes him hot takey.
Right. So I'd have to relook at the ADP, but it doesn't matter. I'll go with what I had. So wide receiver, Jalen Reagor, Eagles. He's going to bond very well with Carson Wentz. And you're going to wonder where Reagor went.
I'm looking for Reagor. I'm scrolling down looking for Reagor right now.
Yeah, he's like 150 overall, like in ADP. Like.
Oh, Control F will find it faster. Yeah. So yeah, he's down there. Because I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people avoid rookies in redraft unless there's keepers
he's
involved.
beyond round 13 of redraft.
Yeah, that's a steal. And if you're gonna pick a team to do it on, assuming Wentz can stay healthy, can you ever assume that Alshon will stay healthy?
Right. Exactly. And Alshon is a different man now. He's not the same guy he was with Chicago, and he's lost a step or two, even with a healthy Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so tight end again. This is post round 13 in redraft leagues. I'm going with OJ Howard, the Tom Brady effect. I think he's going to be more. I think he's going to be more the benefactor than even Gronkowski. I think Gronkowski's going to end up being more double teamed, and they're going. He's going to be the distraction. And then OJ Howard to get all the benefit.
Okay, I could see him being a total. I mean, he's Gronk. You got to cover Gronk, or you get eaten by Gronk, right? So I can see.
Bruce Arians has already said he wants a 12 formation with the 2 tight ends.
Yeah. That's getting to be a popular phrase this year, I think. The 12 personnel.
Yep.
That is awesome. I love how you spun those hot takes perfectly into your picks. OJ Howard. Whew. People are counting him as dead right now. You could pick him up as your 17th pick in a 16-round draft. That's how bad he probably is this year.
Yeah, he may not even get drafted in redraft.
That was my exact point. Yep. Yeah, I think you said on one show about trading your if you have a late 5th round and a 5th pick, you have a late 5th rounder and a 5-round draft to trade them out, get something better, and just grab the guy you wanted off waiver wires after the auction.
Well, no, what I've said is if you have a 5th round, it's kind of like a priority waiver wire.
Yeah.
You know that you're gonna, whoever you get, you don't have to pay for on the waiver wire.
There you go. Okay, I took it 100% backwards.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Means I was listening at some point. I just might have been driving and a little distracted.
Maybe you were listening in reverse.
Oh, I could do that. All right. So let's see here. I have on next show, I have Chris Robin, one of my Twitter buddies out there. He is not the Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh. He is Chris Robin at Detroit Beastie. The man is very active on Twitter. He's a good follow. So follow him. He's coming on the show next week. We're going to talk a little fantasy football because that's what we do on a fantasy football podcast. So don't miss out. Subscribe today. You're not going to want to miss the episode. Before we wrap this bad boy up, Katie, remind our lovely listeners where they're going to find you.
All right. So at FF_Skyler399 on Twitter. And I'm on the weekly Under the Helmet podcast. It's on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, uthdynasty.com. And also coming up, hopefully, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see the advertisements for Cold Drinks and Hot Takes podcast with at Dynasty Madman, who is a fantastic guy. He's somebody that I do guest podcasting on and we're in several leagues together, including Devy leagues. But yeah, that's me.
I'm gonna do a quick show break here. You just said, I think I played in a league with Madman last year.
Did you?
Yeah. I can see his like Twitter avatar thing. It's kind of like, yeah, good guy. Assuming he is who I think he is. So for this show, that's it. But this has been Bob's Three-Toed Warriors and special guest. I was gonna say the Katie Flower, but we're gonna go with the Devy. I was trying to say it, and I botched it anyway. Damn it. The Diva of Devy. Reminding you that soon enough you'll be able to hit the waiver wire, set your lineups, dominate your opponents. Let's win some championships together, people.